Now we are moving on to the next topics, which is for water spray system, and this is module 5 for fire protection design. It will take around 1.5 hours from now to finish this module, and this is the first time we are discussing this one. It was not included in the fire protection module. So let's start now. Normally, water spray system is fixed piping. We normally used to call it deluge spray system, right? So in deluge spray system, we have the open nozzles, and which is intended to protect flammable liquid, right? From a flammable liquid stored inside a vessel, heat exchangers, or the storage tanks, and we protect that one for the cooling purpose, to cool the surface of the exposed surface. If there is a fire in nearby area, we need to control the other equipment which is present in those areas, just to control the temperature, so that the temperature of the steel is not going higher. If the temperature goes further higher, it will reduce the mechanical property of the steel, and maybe after certain time it will break. So to avoid that one, we have a water spray system for all the process equipment, maybe the compressor, fire pump, sorry, not the fire pumps, process pumps, compressor, cooling towers, transformers, storage tanks, and all those things. We'll discuss that one in detail here. And it is designed as for NFPA 15 or American Petroleum Institute RP 2030. So we have the two. You have the two standard to install that one. Even the API RP 2030 sometime will refer you to install as for NFPA 15, right? So these are the two modules. These are the two standards and codes. Based on that, we have to design the fixed water spray system. And the purpose of the water spray system, right? It is designed to provide fire exposure protection, control of burning, extinguishment, and egress protections. Before moving to the topics, we have some definitions. Some of the definitions associated with this module. Water in a form, what is the water spray, right? So it is in a form having a predetermined pattern, particle size, velocity, and density discharge from specially designed nozzle or devices. Now these nozzles are totally different than those sprinkler system, the one we discussed in the NFPA 13 and all. So it is the open nozzles. It is just open nozzles. There is no bulb or fusible link, anything inside that, and it is intended to provide the directional flow. We'll discuss that in a while. Means it will only provide a 180-degree flow, cover 180-degree area or 120-degree area or maybe 150-degree area based on the different requirement. Then we have control of burning, right? So the purpose of the water spray system is threefold. So the control of burning. So we have the purpose of the water spray system is the control of burning, exposure protection, extinguishment. So now you can hear me, right?
Yes, clear,
Yeah.
clear.
So for control of burning, we have we have the application of water spray to equipment or areas where a fire can occur to control the rate of burning. So we are only controlling the rate of the fire. We are not going by a complete extinguishment, right? So we are just limiting the heat release rate from a fire uh, until the fuel can be eliminated or extinguishment effect occurs. So this is the control of burning where we are only controlling the fire. The second one, we have a exposure protection, right? The meaning of the exposure protection is that suppose there are two process equipment in a process area, right? If this one catches fire, this equipment got the fires, right? So the heat will be releasing from these areas by radiation or convection, and those heat will coming a strike to this surface, and it will increase the temperature of this surface, right? So it is already getting damaged, and it will also damage this one if it is not protected with the water spray system. So the purpose of the water spray system is that we need to discharge water on this surface, right? When there is a nearby area catches the fire, just to limit the temperature of this equipment, and mainly the temperature of this steel, because we want to ensure that the heat is not coming to this surface, and heat is not increasing. If the heat is getting up by time and time, and if it's going something around 550 degrees Celsius, steel will started losing its mechanical strength, so it might get damaged very soon. So we just want to discharge water for cool this surface. We call it the exposure protection, right? The water will just absorb the heat from those surface and limit surface temperature to a level that will minimize damage and prevent failure. Because once it's failed, all the liquid will come outside. Maybe gas is there. The gas will be dangerous one, maybe the poisonous one. So it will cause a big problem for the safety of the plant and the environmental issue. So we have to protect that one with the water spray system. And the last one, we have the extinguishments, right? There is wind combustion is no more present. Means the water is just fight the fire, or it is simply control the fire 100%. Then we have the auto ignition temperature, right? The auto ignition temperature is the lowest temperature at which a liquid will ignite without an external ignition source. Normally, saying in the sense, if the temperature goes so high, it will catches the fire. The flash point is the minimum temperature of a liquid at which sufficient vapor is given off to form an ignitable mixture. Let me explain the flash point, right? Suppose this is a pan. This is some pan, and you are heating this pan, right? So once the temperature goes off of this pan or this storage, temperature getting higher, it will come at some temperature, that at those temperature the vapors coming out from this liquid, it will catches the fire, and it will catch the fire just for fraction of second. Maybe it will catches the fire just for half second, or maybe the 1 to 2 seconds, and it will stop immediately. So in the flash point only, the vapors coming out from that one at certain temperature, right? It will catches the fire. Once the vapor goes off, the fire extinguishes. This is what we call the flash point. Means the flash point is not continuing the fire. It is just the short combustion of those vapors. But the fire point is the point at which the liquid will ignite and achieve sustained burning. Means at the fire point, once it reaches to the fire point, it will continue burning. It will not getting off. So this is the difference between the flash point and fire point related to the liquid code. Then we have the vapor pressure, which is measured in pound per square inch. It's same as the pressure. It's normally the pressure due to the vapors released, or due to the gases and vapors present in those areas at a standard temperature, right? We call it the vapor pressure. And the last one, we have the boiling point, the temperature at which liquid is started to boil. Maybe for water we have 100 degrees Celsius, right? At standard pressure in our area, which is 1 bar. At 1 bar, water will started boiling at 100 degrees Celsius. So this is just some of the basic definition for from the based on the liquid properties, right? Flammable and combustible liquid. Now,
Mr. Ravi,
yeah,
what the best example for water spray for install for tanks or what?
yeah, we will come to that figures and all. We'll discuss. This is just a definition. We just want to protect the tank, vessel, process equipment when there is a release of any kind of the liquid and there is the fire to the nearby area. We'll discuss that one. We are just at the beginning in the definitions. We have the picture and all. We will give us the more criteria. Maybe after 10 minutes from now.
Okay, okay. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Now we have a flammable liquid, right? We have to distinguish liquid based on the we have a flammable liquid and a combustible liquid, right? So we have the distinction for that. We have differentiation for that one. Flammable liquid is the liquid, any liquid that has a closed curve flash point below 100 degree Fahrenheit or 37.8 degrees Celsius, as determined by appropriate test procedure and apparatus based on NFPA 30. So flammable liquids are further divided into class A, B, or C liquid. Right. So class A liquid is the one who have the flash point less than 73 degree Fahrenheit and the boiling point less than 100 degree Fahrenheit. So we have the example of class 1A liquid as per NFPA 13. NFPA 30, which is ethyl ether, heptane, pentane, propylene oxide, vinyl chloride, right? Similarly, for class 1B, we have acetone, ethanol, gasoline. Gasoline we are using for our petrol, which is under class 1B, and then we have the class 1C, which is uh, isobutyl alcohol, mineral spirit, styrene, monomers, and all those kind of the products coming from the crude and petroleum industries. So just the basic less than 37.8 degrees Celsius means it's a flammable liquid, and flammable liquid is much more hazardous than the combustible liquid because it will catches fire at less temperature compared to the combustible liquid. Now we have a flammable liquid, now we have combustible liquid, right? So this liquid has closed cup flash point at above 37.8 degrees Celsius as determined by appropriate test procedures and apparatus. Closed cup flash point means they just test in the lab, just they put those liquid inside the lab and they increase the temperature. So the temperature at which it catches the flash, the one which is called the flash point in discussed in the beginning, the temperature is started flashing, and for certain second there is a fire, which is 37.8 degrees Celsius or higher, right? So those are we have class 2, class 2, third A, and class third B. So class second we have the flash point between 100 degree Fahrenheit and 140 degree Fahrenheit. Now we are getting higher flash point, right, which is diesel fuel, fuel oil, kerosene, and motor oil. Class third A we have linseed oil, mineral oil, or oil-based paint, right? And the class third B, which is the last one, we have flash point is more than 200 degree Fahrenheit, which is ethylene glycol, glycerine, and food oil, and so on. So this is the definition of the combustible liquid and a flammable liquid. Now, normally, if you are working in the process industry, we have the insulation and we have fireproofing for the some of the equipment. right? If you are working in some industries where we are storing pentane or butane or maybe propane, those are the highly flammable gas liquids. So sometimes they used to put insulators to the outside so that the fire from outside will not go and damage the inside liquid or gas. This is the first one. And the second one, they don't want to lose more temperature from inside. They don't want the temperature goes crosses this boundary. This is the function of the insulation, right? So sometimes you might use insulated cylinder or insulated vessel instead of water spray system, because our last goal is for the water spray system is the same. We just want to control the temperature of the equipment. So if your equipment is insulated, right? If our equipment is insulated, there will be no heat coming from outside to this steel. So this is the meaning of the insulated, right? It's like, it's for the equipment, structures or vessels provided with an encapsulating material that for the extended duration of fire exposure will limit steel temperature for a maximum of 454 degrees Celsius, right? And for the structure we have 340 degrees Celsius. So it's the idea for that one, just to insulate the surface so that the heat will from the outside will not coming and affecting our equipment. And we have different types of the insulation, right? The insulation system shall be non-combustible and fire retardant, resistant to the force of hose stream, right? And secured by fire and corrosion resistance fast. Right. So the quality of now they are talking about the quality of those insulation, right? It should be non-combustible and fire retardant, means it cannot catches fire, and it will resist the fire when there is exposed to the fire, and then resistant to the force of hose streams. If there is a fire in this area and someone want to use the fire hose uh, from the hydrant or from meters, those force cannot damage this insulation. Should be like that, and it should be secured by fire and corrosion resistance fastening. Right now we have to make sure that insulation is secured along with those surface for a long time without any problem. So the material we use for the fastening should be fire resistance material, right? And uninsulated is the uninsulated is just opposite of the insulated one. And next we have the fireproofing. You guys must seen in the if you guys are in the process industry, if there is a pipe rack. Suppose this is a pipe rack, and this pipe rack is not protected by water spray system, right? This one need to be fireproof, right? Because on the pipe rack we have different vessel, different piping equipment going from one process area to the other process area, or maybe to the tankage area or the farm area. If there is a fire in these areas, nearby area, right, those fire will going to this side, right, and they will started losing the properties of the steel if that is not fireproof, or there is no water spray system. So if the column damaged, right, if the column damaged, the pipe rack will be collapsed. Now if you guys from the process industry, from the petrochemicals or refined, you know what is the meaning of the pipe rack and all, that you guys are catching the point.
Yes, yes, Mr. Ravi. Here we are only
Yeah,
discussing the definition now. Later on, we will
yeah,
go
yeah.
into the details of any of those, for example, the fireproofing and all these in detail, or we will just mention definition.
Fireproofing only we have the definition only. We are mainly focusing on the water spray system.
Okay.
This is the alternative for the water spray system. Any other guy here from the petrochemicals or oil and gas industry, from Sabik, Maden, Aramco's, Sadara and all? Then we have pilot in sprinklers is the same as the one we discussed in the deluge, right? It's just a pilot sprinklers. So it will work as a detector. It will fuse at some temperature and it will allow the deluge valve to open. Then we have the rundown. Rundown means how water is traveling from the surface. Means if water is striking at this one, right, due to gravity, how it is sticking with this, how it is sticking with this outer surface and then coming at the floor due to those gravity, right? And rundown coverage is the protective water film flowing by gravity onto lower portion of equipment such as vessel or towers when water applied to higher portion. So if if the water is coming to this location, it will be coming all the way from it will coming all around the bottom and then it is getting downside, right? We call it the rundown. And the deluge valve is the same one we discussed in the water in the sprinkler system. The same deluge valve with some different equipment and different principle here. Okay, now we're coming to the water spray for tanks and vessels. Where this is the medium voltage, medium velocity water spray system. We have medium velocity, we have high velocity, and we have ultra velocity. Ultra one we are not going to discuss because that is not a part of this curriculum, and that one is very special case. We are going to talking about medium velocity water spray system and the high velocity. The first one, the medium velocity rise. If you can see the figures in this one, this is protected by a medium velocity water spray system, right? So now maybe Muhammad Jabar will come to the conclusion. What is the application of this water spray system?
Yeah, the Rafi.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know why you use water spray deluge system and another system not work.
I got your question. Deluge system will be only connected by the piping to these areas, and this complete we call water spray system. So water spray system means it is the combination. It needs deluge valve to operate in case of the fire. This is your question.
Yes, but this not with the pipe water
Spray
spray.
system.
Not with the pipe. I see. I saw pipe right here.
Yeah, it should be with the pipe. So what will happen, if there is let's say if there is a fire in this side, the small, you can see there is one tank, right? If the fire in these areas, right? So the heat from this area will come to this area on the surface of this on this sphere, right? On this equipment, and it will increase the temperature.
You mean water spray? You cover more area or coverage all the area for tanks or something?
It will cover complete area of the tank. Means only the metal parts. They will cover all the outer surface, just to maintain the temperature so that temperature don't go higher than that one. If temperature goes higher, it means maybe this equipment will be damaged, and once it's damaged, the gases will be released into the atmosphere and the liquid will spill and it will cause more fuel to the fire, which is uncontrolled. A loss of the inventory and the loss of the process items, right?
Okay.
So coming back from the slide 9, right? Medium velocity express discharge a water of finely divided droplet at medium velocity, right? They are ideal for protecting involving light oil. So medium velocity only we are using for the light oils, like where emulsification from high velocity spray is not possible. So those are the area of applications, right? The tanks, vessels, and all we are seeing into the process industry. This is one of the effective methods for protecting nearby plant and structure from heat during a fire. by providing a continuous cooling spray over the exposed surface for some times. And it is intended to protect for the liquid which having uh, lighter oils, liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, and other flammable liquid with flash point below 65 degrees Celsius. So if the flash point below 65 degrees Celsius, we need to protect that process equipment and all from the water spray systems. Now again, the next question is that we have which equipment need to be protected by water spray system. Not all the equipment need the protection, but majority needs the protection which have the flammable liquid and all. And these requirements come from the process hazard analysis or the risk assessment studies. They will tell you that we need cooling protection or exposure protection for this kind of the equipment, and you have to provide as for NFPA 15 or API RP 2030. Now this is the application of medium velocity water spray system, right? In following areas we need this kind of the water spray system. The first one, we have the atmospheric storage tanks containing class 1 flammable liquid or class 2 combustible liquid at or above their flash point, right? The second one, process columns, vertical process or storage vessels, storage spheres containing class 1 flammable liquid or class 2 combustible liquid at or above their flash point. Then we have the horizontal process storage vessels, and then we have the pipe racks in process areas, right? Because once the pipe racks damaged, everything will be damaged. So we have to protect that one. And the pumps, which is used to pumping high flammable liquid. The high chances of leakage at the pump area only, at the gasket, at the connection in the pumps. If there is small leakage, it will continuous the fire for long times. We need for the compressor areas, right? And cell and tube heat exchanger and all. So we'll discuss all those one by one. What are those requirements? Here we have some storage tanks, and those storage tanks are protected by the water spray system, right? So if there is a fire nearby area, this system will activate and it will just cool the surface of those areas. In this example, if you can see, it is activated for this equipment. It looks like a pumping units in the process areas, right? And they are just protecting their, or maybe they are just doing some commissioning work at the beginning of the projects.
And also it covers the pumps itself.
Yeah, it covers the pump also, but not the fire pumps. Now we are talking everything for the process industries. Our fire pumps should be, there is some guidelines from the process industry or from the UL or FM or oil industry guidelines, should be at least minimum around 70 to 80 meters from the process area. And that is protected by the one we discussed as for sprinkler system group 2 hazard occupancies. Now coming for the high voltage water spray system, it's mainly for the transformers, right? Because high velocity system are often used to protect equipment that incorporate heavy or medium oils. Now the one we discussed in the medium voltage, medium velocity, which is the tanks and the vessels, they are only using the light oils. But here we have medium or heavy oils like let's say transformers, circuit breakers, diesel engines, and fuel oil, storage tanks, turbo alternator, loose oil, and so on. So it is widely used for transformers, control of highly flammable liquid and materials, flammable liquids in the warehouses, storerooms, refinery, chemical waste treatment plant, and so on. So this requirement should not come from NFPA 15. NFPA 15 is just one standard that will let you know that how to install this system. Now with this requirement come from NFPA 30 or maybe some other code of API, and should be based just by the process safety engineers or process design engineer. The design engineer will give you the exact requirement to install such kind of the system into your facilities. Here we have a yeah.
Now during system you can put the deluge system or water spray, right?
See, Java deluge system and water spray system is the same.
Uh-huh.
It's the
Same,
same.
huh?
Means, yes, it's the same. Means from the same deluge valve, one deluge valve will be open, water will be coming from the deluge piping all the way to the equipment, and there we have water spray nozzles. Now those water discharging onto the surface by a nozzle, we call it water spray nozzles. So the pattern of these nozzles will be different in the sprinkler system. This is why we call water spray nozzles.
Okay, okay, very good.
Okay. And here we have a transformers, right? So these transformers also need the protection. This is only the exposure protection, right? If you have seen some transformer in this, there is one transformer at this locations, and we have a fire barrier in between that. If we have a fire barrier in between that, we don't need water space, not cooling protection. But if if we don't have fire barriers, right? If we don't have fire barriers, we need a water space system for a transformer which is filled by oil, which is flammable oils, the heavy oils, and also if there is only one transformer, then we don't need this system, because we are only intended to control one area if the nearby area catches the fire. So if you are installing the fire barrier, we don't need that one. If you are installing the only one transformer, we don't need high voltage water spray system. So we need only in the case when we have more than one transformers and there is no fire barriers in between them. Now here we have a deluge valve, right? This is a component of the water spray system, right? In our previous sessions, but the principle of this deluge valve is just for the exposure protection. But there the principle was to control the fire in the sprinkler system, right? This is our deluge valve, and this piping going all the way to this nozzle side. There we have a nozzles. So these nozzles are called water spray nozzles, right? And it should be activated by this control panels. Once there's a fire, it will receive some signal. And then it will just activate this valve. The working principle is the same as what we discussed, the deluge valve in the sprinkler system, but the principle is something like different than that. We don't want complete extinguishment, but we need exposure protection also, and in some case extinguishments also. Now Muhammad Jabbar, we got your question, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So now for these nozzles we need minimum 30 psi. Remember in the sprinkler system we said we need minimum 7 psi, but for these nozzles we need minimum 30 psi, and all the nozzles are the open nozzles. It is not a closed nozzle. There is nothing. So one means there is a fire, the valve is open, and all the water will discharge from that one to control the fire. And again, the maximum temperature in the maximum temperature we have maximum pressure we have 175 psi or 12.1 bar, same as most of the water-based fire protection system we need. This is some of the this one we call deluge valve skid, right? You can find this kind of arrangement most common in some of the refineries and all. It is intended to protect various equipment. This will go for someone, maybe it will go for a pump, it will go for a storage tanks, it will lead to a heat exchangers, it might go for some compressor. So it might go for it is intended for different equipment, and at one place we can keep it easily to maintain the system. This is some arrangement. You can simply request from the manufacturer like a complete ready-made equipment. Just connect your piping after this one and put into the service. Now we are component strainer, right? We need a strainer in all the deluge, all the water spray nozzles, because the water spray nozzles are very small compared to our sprinkler system, right? If you remember, in the sprinkler system we need 5.6 K factor, or in another unit we can call 81, right? 80 K. So those nodule size, those orifice size is larger, so we don't have a problem with any kind of the obstruction or any kind of the foreign materials. But with the water spray nozzles, when we have a K factor something around 1.2, 1.4, 1.5, very small nozzles, because we don't want to control the fire. First one, we just want to cool the surface by discharging a drop of water all over the surface, and we have all nozzle open at this moment. So if all nozzle are opened and the orifice is of the larger size, we might need more than 10,000 GPM for one equipment, or even more than that, which is not possible. This is just for cooling the surface, and those density is more than enough to control the fire. So whenever we have orifice size less than 9.5 mm, right, we need a strainer just to remove the foreign materials from the system. And then we have a isolation valves, the same gate valve or butterfly valve. It needs to be installed before and after the deluge valve for the maintenance purpose and for any kind of the ITM requirement. Now here we have a nozzle, right? If you can see, this is a water spray nozzle. This is the orifice. It is much more lesser than the one we see in K5.6 in the sprinkler system. And these are the open nozzles. So once there is a fire, detection system like fire or gas detector, maybe pilot line detectors, detected the fire and given a signal to open the deluge valve. When the water from this side will strike this one, this deflector, right? And from that deflector, it will make a profile like this one. We can see the profile. Now these nozzles are coming for the angle. But what is the angle of area angle it will cover, right? So this application, right, we need the K factor and a spray angle. Means what is the angle we need to protect? Because as we discussed for this nozzle, there is a nozzle once, it will cover only this area, right? If you can see in this figure, we just want water to go on the surface, not to this side, right? To the outward side. We only want to discharge water onto the metal part. So we need directional nozzle, which is totally covering some direction, maybe 120 degree or 180 degree. Based on that, we have to space our nozzle so that no area onto the surface will go without water in any case. And here we have the details for the K factor and how much area in meter it will cover. So what is the distance between two nozzles, right? So if you have a fixed angle, which is 0 degree discharge, it will only go directly to the equipment. Then we have a 30 degrees, right? So the maximum axial distance for 140 degree spray angles in meters. We are mainly talking about the axial distance. So what is the axial distance? Right, these are the axial distance, how it is going, right? How far it is going in this direction and how far it is going on this direction. This one we call the axial distance, so it will cover those areas. And based on that, we have to locate the sprinklers to our areas, ranging from 0 degree to all the way from 180 degree, based on the different equipment and different requirement, right?
Sorry, Mr. Rabi, again, the axial distance is what?
Yeah, here we have our nozzles, right? If this is our nozzles, discharging the water, it will make a spray pattern like this only, So this is our plane of protection, means the steel parts we are protecting, right? And this is the distance from the deflector all the way to the surface of the metal, right? This is the axial distance from the deflector to the surface of the metal. We call it the axial distance.
So this is the maximum distance from the nozzle to the protected.
Yeah.
Okay. But how big the area will be protected? This is another factor, or
This is if you can see this table, right? This is for 140-degree spray angles in patterns in meters, right? So if your spray angle is for 120-degree, right? Suppose how 120-degree looks like. This is our y-axis. This is our x-axis, right? So 120-degree will be something like this, right? This is 120-degree exactly. So this area will be covered by this nozzle. The sketch is not coming exact. If you can see for 120-degree, right? For 120-degree, if the K factor, let's say if the K factor is 59.0, the K factor is 17.3, it will cover 0.6. The axial distance for 140-degree spray nozzles, we have around 0.5 meters.
there is two angles, right, Mr. Rabi?
Yeah, we have radial distance and axial distance. Angle is only one. We have different angles based on different requirement, right?
Table. Go back to the table again. There is one angle in the top of the table. For example, the
Yeah.
left one is 140 spray angle,
Yeah.
and there is a fixed angle on the left side also, the left column.
Okay. Just let me look at this maximum axial distance for 140-degree straight angle in meters and the fixed angles. Okay. Okay. I think let me review this table again, and I'll back to you.
There is I think installation angle, and there is coverage angle, or how exactly it is, I don't know.
The coverage of the nozzle will be based on the angle only. You know what is the angle we need to protect. It is based on that one only. So if this is our nozzles, it will cover. If it is covering these areas, these are the angle for this deflector. Let me check that one in the data sheet of the on the Viking, how they explain that angles. We normally used to place based on the guidelines of the NFPA. What is the maximum distance between two nozzles and the angle sizes? I'll come back to you.
Okay.
And then we have a detection devices, right? We have alarm control and detector devices. The left we can see we have a fusible link in the center, and the last we have fire and gas detectors. So those deluge valve need some kind of activation devices. So either in the same area we have a fusible link, or we have a fire or gas detectors based on the different philosophy of the design. Mostly in the process areas or in the pipe rack, they used to just install a fire and gas detector. So this gas will detect some gases, like if there is a release of the gas up to some level of atmosphere, it will give some signal to the fire alarm control panel just to release the devices and discharging the water to extinguish the fire. Now, water spray system is also used for mitigation process or mitigation purpose also. The meaning of mitigation is that this pipe rack area is very closely packed with lots of piping and columns, right? Columns and vessels, and very densely packed, totally densely packed. In those areas, there are always some amount of flammable atmosphere present, flammable gases and vapors are there. So that if that is below the LEL level, right, lower explosive limit, below that one, so it is okay. But if the level of the fire and gases goes more than that, and even there is no fire, the gas detector will detect the percentage of the gas in those areas. Now water spray system will activate. It will just force the gas and flammable atmosphere to go out from these flammable areas. It will just discharge the water and disperse disperse all the gases outside those area by the application of the water spray. All the gases will go outside. What they want to ensure here that it should not come in the flammable range. If it comes in a flammable range, then there is a fire. That is another case. Sometimes we need fire and gas detector for such kind of applications, or maybe if there is in open areas, we might need this kind of arrangement. All those philosophy comes from the design from the process design or process safety department teams to follow what kind of the activation philosophy we need for certain applications. Then we have piping and fittings, right? So all the piping and fittings shall be as for NFPA 15, and NFPA 15 requires the outdoor installation of pipe and hangers be corrosion resistance. Now, normally with the outside installing the metallic pipe, there is a more chances of the corrosion inside those piping, because we know that we don't have water inside the piping in most of the time. Water goes inside only when there is actual fire, right? So due to that, that will be always present inside the piping, and those there will cause this piping to corrode it fastly more than the recommended one. Okay, so those corrosion will damage the piping. This is why NFPA 15 says that this kind of the piping should be galvanized inside and out, right? I means if you are installing your pipe, should be galvanized. First, you have to purchase the pipe from the manufacturer, because the pipe are not coming galvanized one from the factories. So we have to send this piping uh, to the galvanizing plant, right, or galvanizing unit. They will just put inside a zinc bath, and they will just put inside some molten bath and all for some time, and then they will add the galvanization on the upper part and the lower part of your pipe for some hours, and then you can collect your pipe for the installation. Now they are talking about, even you bought your pipe after the galvanizing unit. If for the small piping you are doing some kind of the cutting at the end, maybe the threading or the cutting operations to put the nozzles. After the cutting also, we have to put the corrosion galvanization at the end also. Now for this one, we have some kind of the paint is there, corrosion resistant coatings or paint. We have to put this one at the side, because they are worrying about the chances of corrosion and those kind of the piping arrangement in case of if it is not if it not galvanized at those locations. Now next they are talking about the when there is a severe condition exists, when there is a chances of more corrosion all the time, like inside cooling towers, right? If you are putting those water spray system in the cooling towers, there is chances that due to the continuous water present inside the cooling tower and the air interrupt, those piping might be getting corroded very fastly, right? So in those areas we have high atmosphere for the corrosion potential. And in those areas, if you want to use the pipe should be epoxy lined steel pipe or fire rated glass reinforced plastic, the RTR pipe, maybe the stainless steel pipe or copper nickel pipe, or any kind of the piping which is corrosion resistant than the normal steel pipe we are seeing in our daily life for the industrial establishments. And these are the some of the standards for the piping in piping in fire protection industry. The one we have ASTM A53, and then the next one we have 106, ASTM A106. ASTM A106 is the more common one compared to the A53, because that are galvanized one are more corrosion resistant than this one. And this level I have taken from NFPA 15. Moving on all the way to the design objectives, right? So we have three objectives for design with the water spray system. we have the exposure protections, we have control of burning and extinguishment. So most of the time when you are using the deluge valve water spray system for the protecting your tanks, which is for the exposure protection in most of the case. And sometimes it will be control of burning and maybe for final extinguishments also. Water spray system is very much effective in achieving the objective mentioned by those standards, but water spray system is not not intended to provide protection from pressurized jets impinging fire. Right? Those pressurized jets impinging fire means that uh, if there is a fire, if there is a storage tank, right, a storage vessels at highly pressurized, there may be pressure up to 100, maybe up to 500 psi, and if there is a small leakage or rupture into this pipe, due to those small leakage, we will get tremendous amount of the flammable vapors outside. Now it will come pressurized jet into the atmosphere. The moment it will comes uh, in discharge into the atmosphere, and we have some amount of some amount of the heat present, or maybe a spark or fire present in those area. And if it catches the fire, the size of this area will be much more higher, which cannot be protected easily by a water spray system. To protect that one, we might need some other kind of a protection. The best one, we have to we have to use the monitors, or hose monitors, or the other kind of the manual firefighting system in those areas. So localized fire water application from monitor nozzle or hose stream directed to reach the same point of impingement, right? So we can protect this kind of the fire, the pressurized jet impingement fire, only by handhold line most steam the monster nozzle or the fire hydrant to fight the fire. The most common application of the water spray system is the exposure protection, right? Just to cool the surface in and reduce the temperature of those areas so that it cannot catch fire easily. The exposure protection required spraying water directly onto the equipment or a structure to prevent failure due to heat, right? As I mentioned, once the heat is going high, if the temperature is going higher, it will break easily, and at that time it will release flammable liquid or gas, which is not good for the plant and for the environmental or for the society. So one factor we have to consider while designing a system for exposure protection is that is the allowable temperature a structure could safely sustain before significant damage of the fire, right? So we have to initiate the deluge valve as soon as there is a fire in the nearby areas, so that to control the fire in those areas. And the application rate, we have 0.25 GPM per square feet, between 0.10 to 0.25 GPM per square feet over the surface of the fire. So we discussed regarding the exposure protection. Next, we have the control of burning, right? If you can see the density area in the exposure protection, we have starting from 0.10 to 0.25, just for the cooling purpose for exposure protection. The next of we have control of burning, which need higher densities, need more than 0.30 or all the way up to 0.35 GPM per square feet, right? So water spray system can be used to control rate of burning, right? This is achieved by applying water to the flame or burning surface just to absorb the heat nearby the source and reduce vapor generation, right? If the vapor generation are reduced and there is no flame intensity, the fire will be under control. And for the hydrocarbon spill fire, we have the application rate of around 0.0 to 0.35 GPM per square feet. And the last we have the extinguishment. But extinguishment is seldom the primary function of water spray system installed in the petroleum industry, right? Or it is not a common one. Where extinguishment is the design objective, the potential fire must commonly involve combustible solid materials, right? If there is a fire in the combustible solid materials, such as the conveyor belt system with a combustible belt, right, and those area catches the fire, we can achieve the extinguishment for those one. So extinguishment means we are using the water spray system for some like solid kind of material. In this case, they are talking about the conveyor belts or maybe some other solid structures. We want to control the fire, and the rate is 0.152 0.30 GPM per square feet. The physical properties of the fuel involved in the fire will determine whether the extinguishment by water is possible or not. Right? In some scenarios, by surface cooling, right, or dilution. And here we have a application rate for equipment and a structural protection, right? So what is the density required for the different equipment, right? If you can see the column one is a different control of burning, extinguishment. We have combustible solid, combustible liquid, flammable liquids. Then we have air fan coolers. We have the compressors, cooling towers, LPG motors, pipe rack, and all those areas. So different equipment and the structure are there. In column 2, we have the application rate in gallon per minute per square foot. And here we have a application rate in liter per minute per square feet, right? So take either in the GPM or take in the liter. We are going with 0.25 for general exposure protection. This table I have taken from API RP 2030, which is American Petroleum Institute recommended practice 2030. And this is the further we have for different equipment, right? For the turbines and for the pressure impingement, for the radiant exposure, for the transformers. Yes, Muhammad Ahmad. Ahmad, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Yeah, okay. Then now we are going to one by one to all the equipment which is protected by water spray system. We'll just look for the protection required for different arrangement, right? We have fixed water spray system should be considered when all three types of following condition exist. Normally not all the pumps require water spray system, but if they meet the three requirement, which is A, B, C, we need to locate the nozzle for the process pumps. The first one, the fluid handling temperature something between 22 degrees Celsius or more, right? Last point. So the last point of that is around 22 degrees Celsius is the most less one, the starting point for the flash point, right? And the second one, the pump is in close proximity to other equipment, right? So if this is your pump and in the same area we have some other process equipment, and that case we need a exposure protection for the pump so that from this side it cannot damage the pump, right? And the last one we have the pump is located where protection by monitor, nozzle or hose stream would be difficult or impractical, right? Normally if you can see in the process area, there are so much equipment placed inside those areas so close to each other that in case of the fire, right, if there is a pump, this is some different equipment area, process areas, the vessels, and we have a fire pump at this location, right? So if there is a fire at this location and it is surrounded by all the side, who is going inside to fight the fire? That's going to process area, right? It is not safe to go in those area. In most of the cases, those fire will grow the size to all the other equipment, and maybe it will damage to the person who is going inside to fight the fire with the monitor or with the hydrant, right? So for those equipment, we need the protection for fire for the pumps. I'm talking fire pumps again and again because we are discussing since the beginning regarding the fire pumps. So automatically it is coming when I'm talking about the pumps, I'm talking the fire. But don't confuse with the fire pump, right? We are just talking about the process pumps. So normally it's based on the temperature of the pumps, right? Based on the close proximity and based on the hose requirement in those areas. Now, if you can see the location of the spray nozzles, we have one nozzle at this one, right, in between the motor and between the impeller. The one at the gate valve outside, the valve out after the discharge line, and then one at the suction side of the discharge side, right? This is the sectional view, and this is the top view. The same drawing. What is the area where we have more leakage most frequently, right? If a pump in the pump unit must be at this connection, right? Because there is a gasket and the connection, maybe there will be chances of leakage at this one, right? And maybe there will be chances of leakage at the gasket of the valve, or maybe at this one. So normally at the fittings, at the connection, at the valve, there will be most frequently release of flammable liquid or flammable gas. So we need flammable liquid only. We need directly water going onto those surface holders, right? So if you can see that one, right?
Mr. This is a process pump, huh? It's
Yeah,
not fire pump.
we are not talking about the fire pump anywhere since the beginning. We are talking about the process pump, which is handling gasoline, liquid, chemical, and all.
Okay. So we need to protect it from exposure heat.
Yeah, because if there is a leakage from the pump at this location, if you can see, the pump is already the liquid is already pressurized. If it is going out at high pressure, it will catches the fire. Once it catches the fire, we need to protect that one, right? So why we have a spray nozzle at the same locations, just to cool that one, so that the fire will not place in this area.
What about the motor? Is not protected by any nozzle?
Motor should be not protected by any nozzle because we want to. Motor is just giving energy to the pump. We are just making sure that the leakage from the pump should be protected. Leakage from the pump should be protected. Just mean the leakage area we are protecting. The valve at the inlet unit, at the outlet unit, and the suction side. That too, if you can from the monitors or from the hydrant, if it is outside, we can easily protect that one. But if it is not accessible, then we need such kind of arrangements. And then we have the pipe racks. I was discussing since the beginning regarding the pipe rack. This is the similar looks for the pipe racks. Right, this is the level 1. We have level 2, and this is the level 3. Right, all the circle we can see this is the piping going from one side to other side in the process areas. Sometimes pipe racks is around 100 meters. Sometimes the pipe rack length is around 500 meters. So big, So lots of the process equipment are there. Might be some pressure vessels, there might be some heat exchangers, there might be some pumps, some compressors. No, not compressor. The heat exchangers and all those equipment will be there. Now, I was talking about the fireproofing in the beginning, right? Suppose if there is a fire and the column is getting damaged by the heat into nearby area, if you are not applying the fireproofing material on this column, right? So the heat from this side will come into this one, and it will lose the mechanical strength of the AC. So if it is not fireproof and if there is no water system, maybe after fire and maybe after half an hour, 20 to 30 minutes, it will be totally damaged. And once it's getting reduced, the strength of the material getting lower and collapse. Once it will collapse, the situation is going out of control because we have the process piping going from one side to other side. We have the cooling water piping going from one side to other side. We have the pressure vessel. So the fire will be totally out of control, and maybe in this kind of the fire complete complete, the plant will be damaged. It may take billions of money to recover that one. So we have to put the fireproofing, the bottom one, put either the fireproofing up to some height, or put the water spray nozzles, so that it will cool the temperature. This is the first one. The second one, we have all the pipe racks. These pipe racks should be protected by the nozzles. We can see here we have a nozzle one at the top, nozzle two at the second, and we have one nozzle, right? And then we have again nozzles here. So this one will, this is for the mitigation purpose. Now, what is the meaning of the mitigation, right? It is protecting the equipment also, and it might be sometime for the mitigation. As I said, this is closely packed area. In the closely packed area, we have always assume there is some flammable vapors present in some quantity, which is below the fire range. But if those gases and vapors comes into the flammable atmosphere, right, there are some gas detectors installed in those areas. Those gas detectors will send a signal to some process unit area that there are accumulation of gas in those areas. So what will happen at that time? These nozzles, it will activate and will make a water spray, and it will remove the gas by water. Once water comes in contact with those, maybe it will disperse the quality, the concentration of the vapors and gas in those areas to avoid any kind of fire or explosion. So this is the application of the system in the pipe racks area. We can use for the exposure protection. We can use for the mitigation process also, based on the various demands. Then moving on to the transformers, right? In the application, that for the transformer we have 0.25 GPM per square feet. Or normally large oil field transformer are typically installed where they are separated from process equipment, building structure or transformer by distance or masonry walls. We don't need water spray system for those areas. But if it is more number of water spray transformer located nearby, or it is nearby some process areas, we have to be careful regarding the exposure protection for this, because if these are the oil field transformers, we have to protect it from the exposure protection. Now for the air fin cooled heat exchanger also we need exposure protection, right? If you can see, we have a fan, and it is just for removing the heat from the pipings, right? We have a nozzle at these locations. We have a nozzle at this location, and we have all the way. The bottom one is the pilot line detector. Means once it will fuse, it will give a signal to the deluge valve to open, and once it's open, the water will be discharged to these areas. So now if you are installing your piping in these areas, you have to be careful regarding the corrosion factor of the piping, because there are always present of some water in those areas. When air and water mix together, it will cause some kind of the corrosion issues. So be careful regarding the piping classification in that area. And why we need water spray system or exposure protection in this area is that normal these are the piping, right? These are the piping coming from the different process areas. Hot liquid is coming in this areas, and getting cold at some reduced temperature, and going again to some other unit areas. Now in these areas, right, if there is a fire, if there is a fire in this area and it is not under control, or not there is a cooling process, there might be some leakage from this piping, and if catches the fire in the heated area, maybe it will damage the process possibility also, the process conditions of the piping from the equipment, which needs some liquid at this much temperature, right? It cannot be higher than that one. So if those heat exchangers will be getting out of service, it will further damage the process capability of those areas, and it will increase the fire capabilities. And then we have a pressure vessel site. For the pressure vessels also we need water spray system, if you can see, we have different rings. This is the ring 1 at the top, this is the ring 2 at the middle, and we have a ring at there, right? We have 3 rings, and then we have a detection line to detect the fire, right? In all those areas. So we need to protect this one, right? A pressure vessels are of concern when exposed to a fire, and when for the storage vessels and the spheres, process vessel, and all those areas, the exposure protection. So we need to protect by different level of protection with with water spray exposure protection. Now moving on to the next one, we have a normally a spherical storage tank, right? Did you guys have heard about Levy? Anyone?
Yeah,
Anyone?
the boil liquid evaporation.
Yeah, vapor expansion, right?
Yeah.
Boiling liquid vapor expansion normally required for sometimes required for the highly flammable gas, maybe propane, butane, or those methanes, which is much unstable. So those gases are compressed to the cryogenic temperature at higher temperature, and they are stored in sometimes they are stored in the liquid stage, right? So half is filled with those gas, liquid, and at the top there is some gas, right? Now suppose if you have protected your system without any exposure protection, and there is one nearby equipment which catches the fire. In the nearby area there is a fire, and okay, and it is not protected by any water spray system. The heat from those fire will go to the surface of this sphere, which is maybe the propane and all. And what it will do? It will heat the surface, right? When the temperature increases, it is going up by time to time, within minute to minute. And once it's getting heated, the inside liquid will start to evaporate now. Right? So the liquid we have at the bottom, it will start evaporating because of the temperature coming inside the storage due to the heat. Now all this liquid started converting into the gas, right? So when liquid compressed, it is compressed to reduce volume of the gas. Now if it is expand, the volume will increase by time to time to time. So much quantity of the gas will be built inside that one. The safety valve, if you can see at the top, it will be not enough to discharge the high pressure from the system inside. So by time to time, uh, what will happen? All the liquid will convert to the gas, and at some time there is no liquid. So if there is no liquid, it is also not getting the cooling effect inside on the inside surface of the material. And after some time, if the gas pressure is going higher than the recommended, out of control, it will explode. And once it will explode, right, it might go in one direction nearby half kilometers, or based on the process risk studies, right? We call this the BLEVE, boiling liquid expanding vapor explosion, and it will fly like like a sail, or like some like a sail which is going something like 300 meters or 400 meters from the initial location because of the high pressure. So this kind of the arrangement is much critical. We need to protect with the water spray system, which is installed and maintained. Which is installed and maintained as per requirement. This is the application for that into the vessel one. And then we have a horizontal vessel, right? You can see this is the horizontal vessel, and we have a nozzles at the top, we have a nozzle at the bottoms, we have a nozzle in the side, right? And we have in this side. And then we have a line for detector, pilot line is sprinkled all around. Those pilot line sprinkler will detect the fire. If there is a heat, the bulb will be fused and allowing the deluge valve to open and control the fire. And here we have the sectional view of that one. This is the one view for this, and this is the layout right from the top. And here we have a sectional view. You can see from the one side, and then we have a cutaway view from the side view. We call the side view. From this side, we can see all the four sides is protected by the nozzle to protect the complete the vessel in case of the fire for exposure protection. Now, this number of nozzles required based on the diameter of the vessels, right? Between 3000 to 4500 diameters, we need this much arrangement, and between below 1.5 meter to 3 diameter, we need 3 number of nozzles. If it is less than 1.5 meter diameter, we need 2 nozzles, one at the top and one at the bottom. But we have to make sure about the angle of angle coverage, right? So from the top it will cover this one, and from the bottom it will cover this one, and from the top it will cover this one. And then we have a atmospheric storage tanks, right? This storage tank should also be protected by the water spray system, right? We have a dike wall areas, and we have a deluge valve should be installed always outside the dike wall area for the fire issues and concerns. And the way the piping is going from this side to the top, right? We have a heat detector here, and we have the piping for the nozzles, right? We have a nozzle at this one, and this, right, and this one. We have 3 different loops of the nozzles, and it will protect the tanks in case there is a fire into the nearby area. If there is a fire in this area, it will protect this one. It will protect this one from any kind of the fire or exposure. And then we have a compressor room, right? For the compressor room also, since we know gas in compressor, we have to compress the gas at reduced volume in high quantity. If there is a gas compression, we have a more chances for release of the vapors or the gases in most of the area. It is always present. So we need to install a water spray system from those area also. At the ceiling, we need a sprinkler system, right? Those sprinkler system as per NFPA 13. And at the bottom, we have a heat detectors. We detect the fire, and then we have nozzle locations. Can be water spray nozzles without the different arrangement. It can be water spray system to cover the complete room from the top, and then at the equipment location, right? This is a turbine, right? This is our compressor. This is our compressor, C for compressor, and this is T for turbine. This is connected by the shaft. Here, right? The compressor and turbine is connected by the shaft, and we have a detector at these locations. We have a detector at this location, and this locations, right? So normally between compressor and turbine, this is a piping. Sorry, not a shaft. This is a piping. Okay, so. And it is going to some other process areas. Normally there are chances of vapor present in those areas. So we need to protect this one with water spray system to protect it from any kind of the exposure. And we need a density of around 0.25 GPM per square feet. A fire in the compressor or driver areas could cause structural failure, right, of the building or the canopy or expose adjacent areas. Instead of providing direct water spray on each equipment or a structural item, the general area within the building or canopy can be provided with overall water spray protection to reduce the potential for high temperature combustion gases to accumulate in the fire. What is the meaning is that, you know, if there is a fire in this area, we know it's a compressed gas, a flammable gas. Within second, the fire will grow with such intensity that the complete room will be engulfed with the fire, right? So we need water protection from the top also, not from only bottom. Otherwise, those canopy or the column or the beam will be damaged easily, and once it will damage, the fire will go into the other nearby area, which should be further increase the fire intensity for the plant or the process area. And we need for the turbines also, right? I think someone discussed during the water mist application, can we install the water spray system for the turbine? Yes, we can install into the turbine area also, where water spray is provided on expansion turbines in hydrocarbon service. The system should be treated the same as the compressor, right? So based on those, we need to install water spray system in those areas. Or for electrical motors, particularly totally enclosed type, do not require do not follow a fire, do not present a significant fire potential, right? So normally the motor which is totally enclosed means there is no connection between outside atmosphere and inside atmosphere. It's totally enclosed by the atmospheric condition, but it will damage maybe due to it will be damaged maybe due to exposed to a severe fire. If fire is nearby other areas, it might damage the motor. So for that one, we need water spray protections. In those areas, because in some areas the motor is of very high cost, right, and it is very expensive or hard to replace motor that are potentially exposed to fire. So keeping in mind, we need exposure protection for the motor also. And if we provided the water spray system in those areas, the system should be designed to provide a minimum density rate of 0.2 GPM for the square feet of protected surface. And then we need for the cooling towers, right? Cooling towers required as for NFPA 214, which says that water spray system are provided to protect critical combustible cooling towers. They should be designed in accordance with NFPA 214. Now, NFPA 214 is the standard for the cooling tower protection requirement for cooling towers, right? Which requires spray application for various portions of towers ranging from 0.15 to 0.50 GPM. Now my question is that why we need protection in the cooling tower? We have plenty of waters in the cooling towers, and what is the water spray system in those areas?
To protect the structure, because if the structure get exposure to heat, it will lose the mechanical strength and will fall.
Yeah, because the cooling tower is the must protected in the process industry. If your cooling tower fails to maintain the temperature of the liquid coming from all the process areas, if it is not reducing the temperature, if a cooling tower fails, the process areas may be not working properly, or maybe it will be damaged if it's out of control. We need the process uh, under some pressure and temperature, so it will not be higher than that. If it is go higher than that, then maybe it will be the runaway reaction, and that will cause lots of problem to those areas. So we need in cooling towers also water spray system, but keeping in mind the piping requirement in those areas because of the much corrosive environment. And then we need for the fire heaters, heater supports. Normally for the supports we need, because if the heaters collapse in case of the fire, it will be going for it will going to create more problem. And then non-metallic electrical cable and tubing runs also need some kind of the water protection in the risk area.
Mr. Rabi, also
Okay, this is all.
for the cooling tower,
Yeah.
the most critical point is when the cooling tower structure is from combustible material. It is more common.
Yeah.
The cooling tower is constructed from combustible material, and the main
Yeah, exactly.
concern, because I faced this one earlier. The main concern is not when the cooling tower is running. when the cooling tower is under maintenance and it is empty, it is dry without any water. So
Yeah, exactly.
material. So the concern is if the cooling tower damage, the complete, as you mentioned, it is very critical equipment in a facility. So if they get lose the cooling tower, they will not be able to start their process until they repair the cooling tower.
Yeah, exactly. You bring a correct point at this stage. We need to protect the cooling towers and yeah, loss of the combustible material. Sometimes use the wood materials on the level to level just to discharge the waters. It is the heart of the process facilities and we have to protect it. Thank you. Now we have plans and calculations. Right? We discussed regarding the requirement of various uh, structure and equipment based on the hazard and the temperature of the liquid, flammable and the flash point and the boiling point. We need those. Now we are just going in short for the working plant, right? So same as the sprinkler system, all the plans should be submitted for the approval as per NFPA 15 in this case. And if there is any deviation from the approved plan, shall require permission of the AS. So if there is a deviation into the as per the plan, you have to get approval from the ASJ in order to carry out the works. And this hydraulic calculation shall be done in only something like PipeNet or HAS, not in the ELIT, because those software are not advanced to design water space system. Lots of parameters into that. So most of the time, if you found any calculation, it should be done only in the PipeNet or HAS software, which is most common, which is the most common one we can face. And in the summary sheet, which is normally comes along with the software, at the front in the software report, in the hydraulic calculation, in the front page, there should be all the information, right? The date, minimum requirement, locations, name of owner, plant number, hazard types, name of the contractor, name of the designers, right? Density rate, including the hose allowances and water demands. All those should be present in the calculation report. And then we have in the plan and hydraulic calculation in the detail worksheet, right? Should be printed out on computer software, right? And all those details we have to fit in the K factors, the demand required in GPM at the time point, the pipe length for the fitting and device in equivalent one, the friction loss, the PSI loss, right? All those things should be done with those softwares when you perform the calculation. Now here we have a graph sheet. This graph sheet is I have taken from the SCIS, which says that this is our fire water supply graph, right? This is a graph of fire water supply line, and this is our demand for fixed fire protection, which is whatever we calculated based on hydraulic calculation software, something around maybe 400 GPM or 700 GPM. And then we have the hose allowances. Now the SCS says that the hose allowances for the system or the fixed piping system, when you are calculating for the process areas or any kind of the system which is in the plant, we have to include around 7,500 something like 7,500 LPM or maybe higher 7,800 LPM. I'm not exact in the number this, but it should be around 7,500 to 7,800 LPM, which is for at least three streams from three sides, right? So there is a in this vessel, it should be protected from this side by nozzle monitors, from this side by monitors, from this side by hydrant or monitors, so that it should be protected by the water spray system also. At the same time, they are using the hydrant nearby to cool the surface or extinguish the fire if there is a jet fire which cannot be controlled by the water spray system. So the minimum flow rate shall be at least necessary to provide a velocity of 10 meters per second for underground fire water mains for the flushing. This is talking about when you install your fire pipings, we have to remove all the obstruction from the piping. All the obstruction we have to remove from piping and to clean the internal parts of the piping. The next one they have the 40-second requirement, right? When the heat detector detect or a fire detector detect a fire when exposed to heat source, within 40 seconds. Right? So 40 seconds is the time in between the detection of a fire and activation of our water spray system. Under test condition, the flammable gas detection system shall operate within the time frame specified in the system design. So it is based on the system design how we are going to do setting into those detectors. And the last one we have regarding the water discharge pattern from all the spray nozzles shall be observed to verify the flowing. So we have to verify the patterns are not impeded by plugging of the nozzles. If we are getting correct discharge from the nozzle side, we have positioned the nozzle correctly. The position of nozzle is much more important in this area because these nozzles are based on the angles, right? So we have to worry about the angle of the nozzles where we have to going to protect. If the nozzle is not as per the angle recommended, it will not protect the area. So it will be not cooling the surface in case of the fire. And nozzle discharge pattern are not obstructed from wetting surface to be protected at design. What they are talking about, suppose this need to be protected by something, and there we have some column, right? Where we have some column, and our nozzle is at this location. So the water pattern might not reach this area because of this obstruction. So sometimes the consultant will ask you, give us the 3D model of that plant. We want, because at the end the consultant is the one who is responsible for all those things, the one who approved the plan for any facilities. So here we come